What's going on, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be answering and explaining the age-old question, is Rolling Surf a primary attack? There's a few ways I'm going to go about explaining this, but I just want to show you that I'm wearing absolutely nothing. I have no bonuses. As you can see, 3% crit hit chance is the baseline. So I've taken off everything. This piece is only giving me damage to shielded enemies, but I'm going to use this later. It has a Squall Essence on it at that. I'm also not wearing any pets. The Warband room I'm in is Survivor, so I'm not getting anything from here. As you can see, these are only defensive bonuses that don't even really matter. And the reason I'm doing this is to have this be as objective as possible. So again, absolutely no bonuses. My stats are as bare minimum as they can get. The only thing I haven't done is remove my Legacy of the Haradrim, just because that's a pain in the butt to put back, but it won't really matter as long as it stays the same for each test. So the first way we can go about figuring out whether or not this is in fact a primary attack is to look at what it says on the skill page. And now a lot of things are coming from the Chinese game and they're translated over. So the English on a lot of things doesn't always make the most sense. However, it still will make sense. There are consistencies in the inconsistent translation, if that makes sense. So if we look at Wave Edge, it says empower your edges. And if we look at Wind Edge, it says empower your edges, right? So then we click on Rolling Surf and it says almost the same thing, empower yourself with the sea, which causes your primary attacks to hurl water blades. So this is where some people start to think that this is a skill because it says your primary attacks hurl water blades. However, when you turn on Rolling Surf, if that were to be the case, then what is my primary attack? So do I just have no primary attack now? And of course, that's not the case. All right, so the first way we're going to go about testing this is to see how much Wave Edge is doing on its own without any bonuses. And when I start attacking the dummy, you're going to look at these white numbers that pop up. So you'll see 11,169, 11,169. Sometimes it's these two hits of 5,585. And then also sometimes 14,891. So those are the three numbers we're going to look at. And then we're going to look at what Rolling Surf is doing. 11,698 every single time. So now what we're going to do is enchant this piece until I get primary attack damage increased. And then we're going to look at what percent we get. And then from that, we can extrapolate whether or not this is in fact a primary attack. Of course. Okay, on the absolute last one, I think. I'm basically out of everything. We got it. All right, now let's go try this. All right, so I have these numbers written down. And so let's see what the increase is on Wave Edge first. Let's see, 11,671. And then we also have 5,836. And 15,561. Now, I can already tell you, and you might already be able to gather that that is an increase, which makes sense because we all know Wave Edge is a primary attack. But now let's try Rolling Surf. And again, the only thing that has changed is I got a primary attack damage increase of 4.5%. Let's see, 12,224. Would you look at that? The astute of you might be able to recognize that that is also, in fact, an increase. Now let's look at it again, just to be double sure. 12,224. So now I'll do the math for this, and I won't bore you with all of that. But just to show you how this works, we take the difference of our two numbers, which, and for these two, for the Wave Edge damage, one of these is 502, and then what we're going to do is divide this 502 by our initial damage to get how much the percent increase is. And once we do this, we find that it's 0.044945, just to add a little more significant figures in there. And if you do understand significant figures, then you'll know that that is just 0.045. And since we're going to make this a percent, we move that decimal place over 2 places. Boom, 4.5%, which lines up exactly with this. So now I'll do the rest of the math for you, and I'll get back to you. So here we are. Here are all the numbers. And again, you can check this yourself. Like I said, you just take the difference between these two numbers on any of them, get the difference, and you divide the difference by the original damage to get how much of a percent increase this is. And on all of these, it equals 4.5%. So the conclusion we can gather is, in fact, that the Rolling Surf is a primary attack. So if you want to buff Rolling Surf, what you can do is get primary attack damage boosts. But now also, I'm interested, does skill damage also affect Rolling Surf? So let's try that out as well. So as you can see in the beginning of this video, I ran out of materials trying to get primary attack damage. Unlucky. So there's another way I'm going to go about this, and that's slotting in, at first, just a random rank 1 gem, and then I'm going to throw in an entropic well, because this only gives the skill damage increase. And the reason I'm going to be doing it with just some random throwaway gem is so that the resonance is static between the two tests. So the only variable will be adding this skill damage. And we're going to get new numbers. Let's do this. So now I'm going to try this with Trickshot Gem. Again, this is just so that the resonance and the bonuses from the combat rating and all this are all static. So as we can see, we're hitting for 12,245. So I'll write that down. Now, if we switch this gem for a rank 1 entropic well, once I get down there, which this is going to give us a 6% skill damage increase. We'll see how this works. And would you look at that? It's the same number, 12,245. And just to double check, in the same clip, only thing I've changed is throwing in this gem. They have the same bonuses if it wasn't for this skill damage increase. But as you can see, it did nothing. We hit 12,245 each time with both gems. So again, I'll just bring up my notepad one more time. As you can see, with the skill damage chest for Rolling Surf, a skill damage bonus gives you absolutely nothing, but a primary attack damage boost gives you the full boost. So now we know Rolling Surf is a primary attack and is not a skill. And one other thing I want to show you is the fact that once you're using Rolling Surf, none of the Wind Edge or Wave Edge essences will work, because again, Rolling Surf is your primary attack. So we're not using Wind Edge, Wave Edge. So for this, I'm going to show you with this essence, but it works the same exact with all of them. Right here, critical hits will shatter the enemy's armor. And you'll see this effect right here. I'm just wearing the Mother's Lament so that I can crit a little bit easier. But right here, that is the armor shatter, because I'm only using Wave Edge right now. So if I leave this essence on, but this time I attack with Rolling Surf, and we'll see if I can crit. There we go. There's 2 crits, and there is absolutely no armor break at the top. So just to show you that when you're using Rolling Surf, you do not get any of the bonuses from these Wind Edge or Wave Edge essences. So you'll see sometimes people will throw in, Ripper Jaws because they want to do a bleed or something of the sort. But unfortunately, it does not work. Once you're using Rolling Surf, only Rolling Surf essences will take effect. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you did enjoy. If there are any other topics you'd like to see me cover, please let me know down in the comments, and I'll try to get to them. And of course, you can join the channel for 99 cents just to support, and I'll put you at the end of every video, and you'll get some access to some exclusive videos. And on that note, I'd like to thank Ajax at the Honcho tier for his support. I appreciate it. Peace.